Good morning. Thank you for joining me for another 5 good minutes with the Word. I'm Barry Bryson. We're continuing our series entitled Recommended Reading, and I would like to recommend to you the book of Amos. The book of Amos is one of the minor prophecies. It's written to the northern kingdom. It is written during a time when the times are good, when they do not feel threatened by Assyria. It's written at a time when they are experiencing a great deal of prosperity and good economic times, better than their brothers in the southern kingdom of Judah, when they are flush with cash and confidence. And yet, within 2 decades, they're going to be hauled off into captivity. Amos is not trained to be a prophet. He's not trained to be a scribe or a scholar. He is a sheep herder and a fig farmer. That's what he is, but God called him. And the thing I love about Amos is that I don't know there's a better communicator anywhere. It's just his rustic eloquence. He his language is simple. His images are so powerful. And I want to just get a taste of that today. He's bringing about God's judgment upon them for their lack of social justice and their crimes against humanity, really. And that's the judgment that God brings upon all the nations. Because the thing I like about Amos is the way he begins his 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 prophecy is to start by judging their neighbors and their enemies. He starts with Damascus, the Syrians to their north, Gaza, the Philistines to their southeast, and then the Phoenicians, and then the Edomites, the Ammonites, the Moabites, and finally their brothers to the south, Judah. And it's like he's circling them, and everything that he says, they're all in favor of, certainly, as he stands up to deliver his prophecy. God says, I'm going to judge those Phoenicians. I'm going to judge those your brothers in Judah for what they did. And what are the sins? Well, you can read, and we won't read this section, but what we would call crimes against humanity. And some of them are terrible, when you destroy a city, you haul out the pregnant women and you rip them open and you kill them and their children, that kind of thing. You dig up bones and the bones of the dead. You sell populations as slaves to slave traders. Those are the things that all of these populations are being judged for. That's an important message. They're not Jews. They don't have the law, but they do have a law to which they are responsible to God, and they have violated that law in committing these crimes against humanity, which is a biblical concept. It is not called that in the Bible, but it's a biblical concept, and they're being judged for that. So everybody's loving this, but then the transgressions of Israel in chapter 2, verse 6. Um, and he talks to them about their injustice, a little bit about their idolatry as well, but their injustice and the way the rich are exploiting the poor, and it's okay. The way that prophets and judges take bribes. They just lived in a very corrupt time. The money was good, and their borders were, they thought, secure because of corruption. And so that's what God is judging them for. I just want to listen to chapter 4, verses 1 through 3. It talks about the luxury goods that the women are enjoying because the money's good, but it's good on the backs of the poor. Hear this word, you cows of Bashan who are on the mountains of Samaria, who oppress the poor, who crush the needy, and then say to your husbands, bring me a drink. The Lord God has sworn by his holiness, the days are coming when they will take you away with meat hooks, the last of you with fish hooks. It's so vivid. We get just a sense of his facility with words, the way he can paint a word picture. I mean, this is not Isaiah. It's not Jeremiah. It's not. But I mean, this farmer, Bashan, the great pasture land there at the foot of the mountains, and he calls the rich women whose want for luxury goods and the best wines and and the best furniture, the best clothing, the best jewelries. I want the luxury goods, and so I have to crush the poor to get them. He calls them cows of Bashan, and then he says, you're going to be hauled away on meat hooks. That's the vivid language that you get in the book of Amos. And that's why I want to recommend Amos to you. He's famous for his word pictures: the plague of locusts, the plumb line, the basket of summer fruit. Those are all so vivid. But he has such a wonderful messianic section at the end that I want to read to you today, verses 11 through 15. The northern kingdom does not receive the promise of restoration the way the southern kingdom does, that they can ever come back and rebuild, but they do receive the promise of the Messiah. We read that in Hosea already. And of course, Anna of the tribe of Asher is there in the temple from the northern kingdom on the day Jesus is presented. And so you have northern and southern kingdoms both represented there that day between Simeon and Anna. I think that's wonderful. But anyway, this is how he ends his judgment, his prophecy, by giving them hope for the messianic age. Chapter 9, verse 11. In that day I will rise up the fallen booth of David, and wall up its breaches, and I will raise up its ruins, and rebuild it as in the days of old, that they may possess the remnant of Edom, and all the nations who are called by my name, declares the Lord. Days are coming, declares the Lord, when the plowman will overtake the reaper, and the treader of grapes him who sows seed, when the mountains will drip with sweet wine, and the hills will be dissolved. And I will restore the captivity of my people, Israel. They will rebuild the ruined cities and live in them, plant vineyards and drink their wine. I plant them on their land, and they will not again be rooted out from their land, which I have given them, says Yahweh, your God. Okay. Thank you for joining me for this time, which I would like to recommend the reading of the book of Amos to you. We're going to talk about a couple of more of the minor prophets. We'll be talking about Jonah next time. Thank you for joining me for another 5 good minutes with the Word.